Good morning, my good family. Today we're going to be doing an album review. Before we hop into the review, just want to say there's going to be some stuff down in the description. That's the drill, you know the drill. If you want to know how the channel works, you want to know how to request an album for me to review, all that is down in the description of this video. Today we are going to be looking at the album The Suburbs by Arcade Fire. Arcade Fire is an award-winning, critically acclaimed, anthemic alternative rock band. These guys have been defined by their critical success and their critical success and their huge sound. These guys shoot for the stars and try to make this larger-than-life music. A lot of times when a band or artist makes music that sounds huge, people compare it to Arcade Fire. Arcade Fire are like the OG avant garde. I said that so weird. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. They're big sound, big ambitious music is Arcade Fire. I said that Arcade Fire were critically acclaimed, award-winning. They're probably their biggest award they have under their belt is they won the Grammy for Best Album for this album, for The Suburbs. Their other album, Funeral, has a 90 on Metacritic, 5 stars on AllMusic. The Suburbs also has 5 stars on AllMusic. And some users call it the greatest album of the 21st century. I mean, this album is very critically acclaimed. This is a very critically acclaimed band, very critically acclaimed album. Let's get to it. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the lyrics. What does this thing sound like? What is The Suburbs? Musically, The Suburbs is an extremely dense, extremely complex album, extremely varied. The music goes all over the place. It's all over the map on this, all over the spectrum. Every type of mood and atmosphere and feeling is communicated through this 16-song album. It's really like 15 songs, because the last one's it's called The Suburbs Continuation, so it's like a continuation of the title track, but it's put at the end of the album. So it's really like 15 songs. But some of these songs are very easygoing and very pleasant. They sound like The Suburbs and Wasted Hours. Yes, The Suburbs and Wasted Hours. The Suburbs feels like you're like in an old movie, like driving in a car. Just, it has that kind of vibe going for it in the old-timey music. Really pretty nice. You also have some songs on here which are anthemic. You know, that have the Arcade Fire sound. They're passionate. They're crazy. These songs are, just some of these songs are Modern Man. This is the biggest example of this. Also like the most radio-ready song on this album. Just huge and epic and kind of song. You also have We Used to Wait, which has a really big like lead up to the climax, but then the climax like doesn't really happen. But it still feels huge, but it doesn't have that delivery that Modern Man does. And then you also have the biggest song on here probably is Sprawl 2, the last song on the album if you don't count the outro, the continuation of the title track. Sprawl 2 is like a big 80s pop anthem almost, with just supposed to make you feel the emotions and go on just feel, man, just make you feel something, make you feel alive. It's that kind of song. And then you also have some songs which are kind of creepy and sparse and kind of have a much darker tone. These songs are, the darkest song on here, one of the darkest, is Rococo. I probably said that with too many syllables. This song has some dark, creepy lyrics, some kind of creepy, culty atmosphere going on with the music. You also have the song Sprawl, the first Sprawl, and it is super dark sounding, desolate. His singing is, it's just, that was terrible, that was so cringy. But you know, really, really dark sounding. And then the continuation, the actual last song on the album, it's called The Suburbs Continuation, the outro. It's just kind of has a darker tone. It ends the album on kind of a desolate, kind of scary note. And then just another track I'm going to mention on here, another atmosphere, another mood that it jumps into is rock music with the song Month of May. This song is just screaming guitars, drums going full force, just sounds more like a traditional hard rock song. The closest they get to hard rock on this album, and it's just ba 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 ba, and just, yeah, very energetic. It's a rock song. Now, it's kind of hard to talk about the lyrical content of this record. I have a hard time doing that. I've listened to this album many times, like a lot. I've listened to this album a lot before I wrote the review. And for the casual listener, unless you're like really paying attention and diving into the lyrics, it's hard to interpret them. It's hard to understand exactly what they're saying. There's not like super clear themes and messages. Some stuff that does come across, though, there's many mentions of the suburbs in these lyrics. On a bunch of these songs, he'll just say something about the suburbs, and I'm not exactly sure why, other than, it's the theme of the album is the suburbs, so it's just referenced in the lyrics several times. Month of May has very self-aware lyrics. In the song, they're talking about making a record in the month of May. I noticed Arcade Fire has done this before, where they reference their own music, and they reference that they are a band, and stuff like that. And they do that on this song. Another thing on the lyrics, another trend, one of the only things that the lyrics have in common and throughout the album, is that there's some creepy lyrics on this thing. Ready to Start, Rococo, and Sprawl 1 Sprawl Part 1, all have like kind of darker lyrics and like a little bit slightly creepy lyrics. Like Rococo kind of has this culty thing going on in the lyrics. Ready to Start is about kids drinking his blood, or he says something like that. The kids in my high school would drink my blood, or something like that. I don't really remember. And then Sprawl 1 just has a very dark tone and very dramatic, dark, creepy singing. Enough with the describing. It's time to... Is this a good album? That's the question that I need to answer. Before I tell you if I think it's a good album, I'll let you know this is, like I already said, very critically acclaimed album. It won the Grammy for Album of the Year. It has an 87 on Metacritic, a very high user score, all music 5 stars, critic score, user score 4.5. I mean, very critically acclaimed album. There's very few people who say this is a bad album. Anthony Fantano gave it an 8, so... And I'm not going to disagree with anybody. It's a great album. It is a great album. The music on this album, I think I already mentioned, it's very multi-layered. The music is multi-layered, complex, and excellent. The music is honestly just amazing. Did a great job. All the instruments, all the different instrumentations, great. Very well executed. Just sounds awesome. Some highlights, the easygoing tracks on here. The Suburbs, the title track, and the Suburbs and Wasted Hours just sound really nice. I think if I had to pick a favorite song on this album, it'd be The Suburbs. Just has a really cool, very relaxing tone, and it just sounds really nice. And then another one of my second favorite song on the album is probably Modern Man. Just epic. They go for the epicness on this song, and they absolutely hit the mark. Rococo is another highlight. It's creepy, and it's just a cool song. The way they did it, very effectively written and produced to have a creepy vibe. Very successful song. Month of May, the rock song, is awesome. I love to rock along to this song. It's something you can not bob your head to and sing along with, and it just sounds awesome. We Used to Wait is another highlight. This one, once more, has the anthemic kind of vibe, the big sounding kind of sound going for it, and it's pretty cool. It just sounds pretty good. Pretty good song. And then, of course, you have Sprawl 2. Sprawl 2 is another hit. This thing just sounds really great. It's a great way to end the album. It's supposed to make you feel something. It's supposed to be emotional. And I think it basically pays off. And these are just the highlights. I think every single song on this album has something to offer. Really, all the songs on this album are either great, amazing, or good, except for 3 songs, which I'm going to talk about. I personally really don't care for the song City with No Children in it. That's not what it's called. City with No Children. I just said the whole chorus. But it's musically, it just doesn't work for me as well. It's not on the same level of production. For me, it just doesn't sound great. And the same can be said of Half-Life. Is it Half-Life or Half-Light? I think it's Half-Light. Half-Light 1 and 2. I didn't care for these. Lyrically and musically, I wasn't a big fan of the Half-Lights, Half-Light 1, 2, and City with No Children. I just didn't, these songs just didn't really do it for me. They just didn't sound that great. Just kind of left me with kind of saying meh. Kind of a, yeah, not amazing songs, in my opinion. I feel like I should say something about this record vocally. Let's talk about the singing. This is mainly sung by a dude. There's the lead singer of the band, but also there's a female singer who comes in from time to time. And they both do a great job. They're both, I mean, I wouldn't say like, it's not like vocally this is not the point of the album. Vocally, it's not, that's just not the highlight of the album. That's not the best thing about it. The best thing about it is the complexity and quality of the music, and then the complexity and matureness and everything crazy going on with the lyrics. But vocally, I would say there's no complaints. It has very good vocals on all the songs, basically. That's about it. In conclusion, The Suburbs is an extremely complex, well-produced, highly enjoyable album. Amazing music, some really great, complex lyrics, good singing. I'm going to give this thing 4.25 stars out of 5. Yep, I thought this was a really great record. Really great record. Thought it was really good. Minus the Half-Light songs and City with No Children, I thought this was a really great record. Not the best album I've ever heard. Probably, if I had to say if it was overrated or underrated, I would say that it's overrated because it has like 5-star reviews. I wouldn't give it 5 stars. So like, I would say this is an overrated album. But it totally deserved the Grammy. I mean, I can't think of, at the top of my head, I can't think of any better album that came out the year it won. So, I don't even know what year this came out in. I didn't do my research before doing the video. So, yep. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.